Hello, how's everyone doing today? It is Berkfamily54comics channel. My name is Steve. Welcome to another live stream. Hope everyone is doing well today. In today's live stream, we're going to be joined by one of my really good friends. We're going to talk about advice for comic book collectors, and specifically new comic book collectors. Now, before we get into any of that, I would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. I do lots of hauls, unboxings, live streams, giveaways, reviews, previews, all of that and more. I'm closing in on 1,000 subscribers, and I'm going to be giving away a couple slabs for getting to 1,000. I'm going to be announcing that soon. I'm waiting for my giveaway actually to arrive. But let's go ahead and get into today's video. I'm joined by one of my best friends in the community. We got Karate Kevin, also known as Superpower Review. What's up, man?
What's up?
Every time.
That's never going to get old. You and I are just going to laugh at that and find that funny all the time.
Right? It's like when you laugh at your own jokes, you're the only one who thinks it's funny. We're the only people probably that think it's funny. What's up, man? How you doing today?
Not much, man. Same old stuff. Things are doing great. Hope you're doing well. I just want to say to the people who are watching, wrong direction. Get this man to 1,000. Let's do it. What are you waiting for? This guy totally deserves it, man.
I appreciate that. We got lots of good people up in the chat. Let's go ahead and say hi to everyone. We got the Gray Man. Hello. How you doing? We got Evan Shinko. What's up, man? This guy has notifications turned on. He's here every time. Magic Lasso. Hey, what's up? How you doing?
What's up, Lasso?
Superior Hero Reviews, not to be confused of Superpower Review.
That happens all the time.
I know it does. You're Davis. What's up, man? Karate. Hey, it's Karate Kevin. He's my friend.
Yes, I am.
There you go. Everyone's saying hi to everyone. Okay, so me and Karate Kevin, we've been trying to hook up on a live stream for a couple of weeks now. We were doing one every week for about 3-4 weeks, and then we both got kind of busy, got other things going on. You started a new show every Monday, right?
Yeah, so I have officially started a new live stream every week because it seems like that's what a lot of people like. Some people like the change besides the uploaded video all the time. So I felt like that was kind of like a way for my subscribers to kind of interact with me a little more. So yeah, so every Monday I have a live stream called the Superpower Hour where I just go live. I talk to you guys for an hour and we show off the comic book collection using the hashtags that I was tagged in throughout the week on Instagram. So if you want to tag me in something on Instagram and you want to be featured on the Superpower Hour and you want to see what my submission is, go ahead and do that. And my IG is right here, Karate Kevin 67. That's my YouTube channel, Superpower Review. So yeah, check that out.
Awesome. So we finally kind of came up with an idea. We were debating for a long time what to talk about. And I decided, you know what? Our last video we did that got a lot of views was comic book do's and don'ts. And this one's going to be very similar to that. It's going to be comic book advice or advice for new comic book collectors. And I have a list in front of me. I sent it to you. I've not seen your list. So I'm excited to see what you talk about. He was saying hi to you. What's up?
Hey.
What's up, everyone? What's up? Oh, yeah, Mark Spector Comics. He's the one to give you the awesome Deathstroke.
Hell yeah.
There we go. All right. Okay. So we're gonna be doing advice tonight. And should I go first or do you want to go first?
Flip a coin, heads or tails. It's heads. You picked heads. Go ahead.
I have a longer list, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go with what I say. Okay. So number one on my list of comic book advice. So if you're a person that's just starting out comic book collecting, or you're just a person and you're like, man, I don't know what type of collector I am or I want to be, find out what type of collector you do want to be. Here, you know what?
That was number one for me.
There you go. Lasso is waiting on a blue wrench. I'll go ahead and I'll hook you up. I sent one out to a couple people here. Here we go.
Blue wrenches for everybody.
Blue wrenches for everyone. Okay, so find out what type of comic book collector you are. There's many different kinds. You cannot say them all, but obviously some of the ones that I came up with, there's the new comic book day collector. There are the keys only collector. There are the slabs only. There's the CGC 9.8 only. There are people that like to collect runs, and I think honestly most of us are a mixture of all of those. Hey, the Comic Knight, Sandy, what's up, man? I'm doing a show with him, the Canadian comic collector, Newbie Comics, and Team CGC 9.8. At some point, I think it's going to be Monday, to talk about the Canadian comic book market. So make sure you guys check back for that. So yeah, try to figure out what type of collector you are, because that is going to save you some money and save you like regret if you decide to start buying all these random things. So definitely try to figure out what type of collector you are. Do you have something you want to add to that? Because you said that was your number one as well.
Yeah, so that was my number one as well. I think that's just like rule number one if you're going to get into this hobby. And like you said, there's different aspects of collecting, but it's also important to figure out what you like to collect depending on genre as well. I know Steve said, like, if you're a 9.8 collector, a slab collector or a run collector, try to find that genre that you like. Do you like superheroes? Do you like science fiction? I know huge in the golden age, there was that romance, you know what I mean? So It all depends on genre too. So like for me, I'm very, very strict on what stays or what takes space in my collection. So that's also very important too, because if I just grabbed things that I didn't like, then after a while I'm going to start looking at my collection and be like, my collection's not where I want it to be, or it's just filled with junk, and now I have to spend time getting rid of it or selling it, you know what I mean? So it's very important to know what you like. Like for me, for instance, I know I love Batman. I know I love my Spider-Man and Venom and Swamp Thing, so that's more of the things that I'm going to stick with. So I'm sorry to say to all those fans, including you, Steve, but, I'm not a Flash fan, so I'm not going to, fill up the collection with Flash or Superman.
What? Why not, man? No, I'm just kidding. Everyone likes different things, and that's actually why I started that show that I started yesterday. It's What Do You Collect? Because no one collects the same way, and I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
So, I definitely.
Maybe we can do that next week.
What?
What you collect. Maybe that can be the next week's video. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh well, I have people lined up for it, but maybe we can do a special episode too.
There you go. Sounds good.
Okay, let's see here. A couple people are commenting. Magic Lasso says, I want to be a collector that can resist books and titles that aren't my wheelhouse, kind and sharing to others, and can still afford to pay his bills. Dude, that is a great post. That is fantastic.
That's heartfelt, man.
If this was a regular comment, I'd pen it at the top. That's great. Let's see here. Wait, Gray Man. Yep, I hear that, Magic Lasso. Overdrawn again. Slabs and keys are my biggest ones, but I was trying to buy everything at one point. My wallet took a beating in my ear for my wife. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do that, man.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Let the hobby I want to talk about that later. Okay. Comic Knight Sandy says, collected books since I was a kid. I wish I collected pre-code horror. I think it's just an always moving cycle of interest. I believe Karate Kevin likes a little bit of the horror too, right?
Yeah, I do actually. And I've been getting a little more into it now than I've ever been. But I've always been a fan of the horror genre. I mean, even when I was growing up through high school, like there was always a Stephen King book in my backpack. So yeah, I've always been a fan of horror, sci-fi and all that good junk.
I would definitely say your favorite character after Batman and Spider-Man has got to be Swamp Thing, right?
Yeah. That's, like I said, I'm a diehard for those heroes, but Swamp Thing, man, takes the mantle of like the best comic book run series I've ever read. It's so good.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Do you want to go to your next one on the list?
Yeah, sure. So I just want to say too that whatever advice I give, remember it's advice. I'm not telling you to do it. You do what you see fit for your collection and yourself. But here is a pretty big one, and I don't think I said this on the last video. If I did, then let me remind let me remind you and tell all you new people. Try not to or do not buy comics using credit. If you have the cash for it, pay for it. You know, again, if you have the money for it, use it. You know what I mean? But yeah, don't pay it off later. I've heard so many horror stories of people buying books using credit cards and credit. And, you know, they think that they're going to get that cash back, whatever, that cash back reward. And then they end up flubbing on a payment, or the payment doesn't go through. They thought they had the money in their checking account, or they didn't pay it manually on time. And they're almost paying like double or like 20% more than what they were actually charged for the book. So I've heard people who've bought, I think Matt one time on the Boy Who Had Seven Talks comics YouTube channel, saying that he knew somebody who bought a key for like, I don't know, $600, $700, and he was late on the payment, and boom, he got smacked, and now that book is $1,000, way way overpaid than what it's valued. So yeah, that's one tip that I have to say. Just don't pay with comic books using credit.
So that's kind of like a really good financial advice, period. To, I mean, outside of obviously like a car or a house, I think most of the time it would be better. It'd be the best financial advice to try to pay things with the money you have. And if you don't have it yet, try to save up.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like when I'm using my credit card, I'm using it for like groceries, things that I know that are essential and that I need, and that's about it. I mean, for people who have a history with or bad history with credit cards and you don't pay it on time, you know what I mean? You definitely don't want this hobby to bite you in the butt later and, you know, screw with your credit and essentially screw with your life.
Let's see here. Magic Lasso says, almost every book comes back around. Don't feel pressured to buy now if you can't afford it. That is correct. I definitely agree. I will say, going off of what Kevin said, if you are caught up on your financials, this is not something that's on my list. If you are caught up on your financials, I would definitely suggest to pay everything with your credit card. And then obviously you just pay it all off so you don't get your bill, so you don't get like charged for it. But if you can do that, you can get a percentage back every month. Like my wife and I, we put everything in a credit card every month, and we're getting $50 to $100 off our bill every single month because we literally get everything on the credit card and we just pay it all off. So that the Canadian comic collector says that's what I do. Nice.
See, but if you can trust yourself, it's good. You know what I mean? But, you know, like I know that I could purchase a book off of a credit card and I know I'll be fine. I just choose not to because, like I said, I try to use my credit card for the more essential things.
There you go. There you go.
I hope that was good advice.
Yes. Dude, YouTube's been weird, man. I had to go to a couple channels and it said I wasn't. Like I went to the Canadian Comic Collectors channel and it said I was not subscribed. So I clicked, even though I was and I had notifications turned on. And then later it said I was. I don't know. It's really weird. It said the same thing about Chino Comics and more. And I've been subbed to them for over a year.
Yeah, YouTube's been really bad. I can't tell you how many times I had to go look on other people's YouTube channel, be like, I haven't heard from that person in a while, and then I go on their channel and I have to resubscribe to them. It's absolutely awful. It happens to me all the time. Like I almost have to keep a spreadsheet on tabs of YouTube of people that I'm subscribed to, and be like, who's that person?
I think that happened to you or Mark Spector back.
Oh, dude, I've had to resubscribe Mark Spector like 5 times.
That's crazy, man. Okay, next one on my list for comic book advice. Me and Sandy were going to talk about this last year. Me and Sandy from the Comic Night, we were going to talk about variants last year. I think that you should not splurge on variants because they're not going to be worth as much as keys. Now, they might be worth more now and maybe over the next several years, but 20, 30 years from now, are you going to be happy you spent $20 on like a variant versus just a regular cover if there's no first appearance in it at all. Unless you're going to get slabbed, obviously, and signed, of course, and that would be worth it. But my opinion, my advice, just like Kevin said, this is our advice. Take it with a grain of salt. Do what you want with it. My advice would be to not splurge on variants every week, even though I did splurge on these. I splurge on these just because I love Power Rangers. You know what I mean? If you feel like you want to splurge on something you really love, then do it. But overall, on like all these different titles that you're not really into, don't splurge on buying variants, especially every week, because those prices go up and down so much.
It's very true. And like you say, they depreciate, over time. And then, that regular back issue is probably $1 now. The variant cover is probably going to be $5. You know what I mean? It's not going to be too much higher in value than the actual regular comic book cover. What I like to say that variants are pretty much the I don't know how should I say it? It's like the sparkle to the bad story behind it. You know what I mean? So
it is.
It gets you to buy the variant cover, but the story is absolutely bad. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if I have it, but I'm not gonna get it out. But like, there's so many like Delato variant covers that are absolutely gorgeous, and then you go read the story, and the artwork is completely kiddish inside. The story is awful. Doesn't make any sense.
Sounds like you're talking about Detective Comics.
Detective Comics?
That's what you're talking about.
Which one am I talking about?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
A whole bunch of Detective Comics variants. So.
Oh, I don't know. I was just using Delato as like an example, like
Art Germ, Adam Hughes.
Art Germ, all those people, all those variant cover artists. But there are times where the story is good and it is worth it. Like Steve said, if you're going to get it signed, slabbed, yada yada, or if it's just really a cool cover that you absolutely love. I mean, for me, for instance, I don't have room in my collection just to keep cool covers, unfortunately.
Right.
I just don't have that room. I don't have that space. So, like I said, I'm very strict with what stays in the collection. If it's not good, if it doesn't, if it's not up to my standards, you're out. It's out. So.
Someone was saying something here. Let's see here. I found a Canadian comic. Okay, yeah, I had the same problem too when I was finding the Canadian comic collectors page. There's another person with the almost identical name that doesn't post much. Magic Lasso has a question for us though. You guys feel that is the same for the creator exclusives that are not sold in stores? There are books that are $60 to $80 for a set of 2, but you can't get the covers anywhere else. So I think he's talking specifically about like J. Scott Campbell, Art Germ, Warren Lau. There's a whole bunch of different cover artists.
Yeah. It totally goes against the same thing Magic Lasso. Like, Bulletproof Comics is again notorious for having Gabriel Delato do certain covers. Scorpion Comics is another one of those companies. I don't know. Yeah, KRS Comics. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking bad about these comic book companies, but it is the same thing. They commission these artists to do variant covers so they can get a piece of the pie. And it's the same thing. You're going to spend $60, $80 on this store exclusive. And by the time, I don't know, like 2 months, it's going to be nothing. I mean, okay, let me use this example one more time for Bulletproof Comics and Gabriel Delato. Was it 2 years now that Batman Who Laughs, the main title, its own miniseries came out? I want to say, give or take, 2 years. I don't know if you remember the Delato variant, but it was him with the fire in the background.
Yes,
that was going. Yeah, that was going for $80 with the non-virgin and $100 for the virgin cover. That book is literally worth $15 right now. You know what I mean? Tops. So it's
and you
it's
got
not worth
it in a 9.8 sign for like $50. I want to say
$50, dude. Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely worth it to wait and not splurge, especially when it comes out. I know you guys want to go get it. I know you guys want to get all them variants for Catwoman 80th
It's exciting.
anniversary, Action Comics 1000, Detective Comics 1000, Marvel 1000, all of that stuff. But unless the variant is the same price as a regular cover, I would definitely suggest just getting the regular cover.
Right. I mean, and don't even fret if it sells out, because you know you're going to see it on eBay anyways. You're going to see
Exactly.
somebody in the IG community selling one, if you know what I mean. So
What's
just
up, metaphorical?
it pays to wait sometimes. You know what I mean. So
It is a money grab. It is a money grab. Hey, Chunky Monkey Comics. Hello. How are we doing?
I actually had a video on my YouTube channel. This is like around like a year after I started my YouTube channel, and it was one of those controversial videos. It's probably like one of the most controversial videos I have on my YouTube channel, and it's me and some other guests where we talk about the downfall of Marvel Comics, and it's just the talk about how variants just kill collecting and kill the market.
I think I remember that video. By the way, your BCW video is eerily close to 9,000 views.
My what video?
Your BCW review video that has
the comic book cases. Yeah, it's almost at 9,000. I will throw a little party if it hits 10,000.
There you go. There you go. I have a couple of videos that are doing pretty well still from last year, but now that I have more subs, whenever the year runs out on that video, I'm just going to make a very similar video to that.
Yeah. I mean, there's some videos in my most popular, playlist that I wish that there were other videos that would take its place, because they're like 2-3 years old, and I just want to kind of like see it swapped out. So maybe like when there's like a time where I don't have videos coming up, I'll just share those on Instagram and be like, hey, go check out this video. You know what I mean? So
there you go. There you go. Okay. What's your next advice that you have for comic book collectors?
So next advice I would have to say, and I think we touched about this last time, but don't be afraid to invest in product to protect your comic books. I mean, so you want to protect these things. You want them to stay in the same condition that you bought them in, or to even get a better condition book by pressing and cleaning perhaps. But yeah, don't be afraid to invest in these things. I mean, you're enjoying these comic books, and Steve, I know we talk very highly about pressing and cleaning. I'm actually sending out 12 books soon to go get press and cleaned by a different presser, I'll add.
Interesting.
Yes, interesting. So take the time and money to buy these Mylar bags. I like to use the E. Gerber Mylights, the Mylights 2s.
I like these Mylights as well.
Yeah, that's what I use. I know a lot of people use BCW, and you know what? It's same shit, different smell. I mean, they both work fine. So I try not to use polypropylene, as I call them, for my comic books, unless like it's like a reprint.
Do you use any top loaders?
Do I use top loaders? Yes, and invest in top loaders. Top loaders are helpful as well. I use my top loaders for my big key books. Unfortunately, I don't use them for my Silver Age books, because the Silver Age BCW, the top loaders don't fit in my boxes, which is absolutely disappointing. That is one thing about comic book supplies that just drives me up a freaking wall about sizes, because it seems like nothing fits in anything else. Like they don't coexist with each other. It drives me crazy. I could like start like a whole new company about things that just fit within this and within that. Anywho, that's a whole different episode. But yeah, so buy those Mylights. Buy those nice boards that are acid free and won't bend over time. Let's see, press and clean your books. If you have a high key, put it in the top loader. And there was something else. And always keep your books. This is pretty big too. Keep your books in a room that is at a temperature at 65 degrees or 75 degrees Fahrenheit. No lower, no higher, because if you're going anything above that, then you're going just to bake your books, and that's how pages and covers become brittle. That's how you get off-white pages, or even worse, cream pages, brittle pages. Anything lower than that, you're going to get warping. You're going to start seeing dents and stuff. So make sure you just take care of your books and keep them in a dry place. If you're going to put them down in the basement, which I do not advise, But if you have no choice but to put them down in the basement, buy a humidifier.
So that's interesting that you said the whole like make sure you store it in the right area, because I was watching a friend of mine. His name is HGM Law Comics. He's in Chino Comics and More auction every time. He buys a lot of stuff. And he sent in a whole bunch of books to CGC.
Yeah.
And all his books were not up to the grade that he liked. He's like, man, I just pulled it out of the box in my garage, which I bought the book when it came out, and I just don't know why it's 9.2 or whatever. And I did comment on there, like not like rude or anything. I just said, hey, that's why I always suggest not putting comics in the garage, put it in a climate controlled area, because it will, like you said, mess with the book's quality over time. Especially,
you might not notice it right away, but over time it makes a huge difference.
Especially if you bought the book from like 1985 or 1990 or 95, 25, 35 years ago, I mean, plus how old the book is, plus the temperature in the garage, it's not going to help it. So I definitely agree with everything you said.
So I said 65 and 75, but I always usually keep them in 70. So I do it right in the middle. So
I have mine in my closet in our house is always between 65 to 75 as well.
Yeah.
I keep mine in my living room. You must not have kids, Selwyn. Comic stuff is too expensive. It can be. I will say, adding on to what he said, I only use top loaders and Mylar on books that are worth more than cover price.
Yeah.
If it's worth cover price or less, I do regular bags with the boards.
Yeah. I mean, like for anything that's coming out of a dollar bin, then, I'm just going to use a regular bag. But the thing is, too, and this goes along with protecting your books, my advice, that, if you're using polypropylene bags or polypropylene, like I said, if you're using that, you got to be aware, because there is a timestamp on those bags. You have to change out those bags, because, again, if you're not protecting your book can now start, sticking to the bag, which is something you do not want to deal with. And it also can happen with your boards too. Your book can stick to your board. You go not touching that book for 5 years, and then you go take it out, and then a piece of your book is now on your backboard or on the bag. So that's another thing. So that's why I mainly use Mylar bags, because I don't have to worry about it. There's not so much a time sensitive window for when I have to change out those books out of those bags and boards.
That makes sense. Okay, let's see what else I got on my list here. We talked about saving money, talked about splurge, what type of collectors you are. We talked about how to store them. Okay, here we go. And Evan said this way earlier. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe it's not.
In the meantime, while you're...
What's that?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let the hobby fund itself.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I mean by that is, don't be afraid to sell off like a whole bunch of just books that are just worth cover price. I'm not talking about the person that has 8 ASM 300s. I'm not talking about that. No, that's pretty nuts if you ask me. But that's a whole nother topic. No, but if you have like a whole run of books, a whole bunch of just random books, maybe you bought a lot from someone, or you have all these books that are worth $1 to $3 and they don't really mean anything to you emotionally or whatever, I definitely suggest like selling those off and using that money to buy yourself something that you would appreciate or something that you would like, whether it's $100 key, $300 key, $500 key, or $50 key, whatever it is. I definitely suggest using your own collection of books that you may not like as much as others, selling those off so you can use that money for something else. I think Karate Kevin's goal is to get 300 ASM 300. That is funny.
Hey, you think I'm bad, okay? One time, and I'm sure this video is still up. If I find it, I'll share it to you. But there was one time, okay, where I saw somebody flip through a short box all filled with ASM 300. So if you think I'm bad, that person is way worse than me.
I don't have a single ASM 300. In fact, I did a mystery box for Chino Comics and More to see who's the grand prize was an ASM 300. So hopefully I win.
Well, I hope you do win it, dude, because I feel like anybody who remotely likes Spider-Man should have that book in their collection because I just love that book. But yeah.
The Canadian Comic Collector says I have 50 to 60 books that I cannot move. Trying to do what you said, Burke, but no luck. And my suggestion would be to put it on the Facebook Marketplace and say, hey, I have a whole bunch of $1 to $3 books and a short box, long box. Come look at it. And maybe someone's like, hey, I'll buy the whole box for $40 or 50 or 60 bucks. And you say you do the math on how many books you have, whether it's 50 cents a book or $1 a book or $3 a book, whatever it is. Try to move them in bulk so you can use up that money for something else. Let's see. I have $3,000 to spend on a big book to invest in. What big books do you recommend? There are quite a few that you can get for $3,000. First one that comes to my mind is Giant Size X-Men.
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
That's what you were thinking too?
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of other books that you can get. You can get several books, whether you want to get 6 $500 books or one $3,000 book. There's a lot of different ways that you could spend that money. It's just up to you whether you like DC or Marvel and what grade you want, honestly.
Well, this is kind of going back to tip number one. You know what I mean? Advice number one, find a theme or yours and the same one I had, but buy what you like. So what do you like? What are you willing to drop $3,000 on? You know what I mean? I tell you right now, I could never drop $3,000 on a book.
TMNT number one, first print. You can get like a 4.0 or a 3.
I couldn't. I felt sick when I bought my Hulk 181 and my House of Secrets number 92. I couldn't do it. I can't do it. I when I gave the person the money for my Hulk 181 on my birthday, it was like one of those scenes where you're holding on to it and are you going to give me that?
Right.
And then when I bought my House of Secrets number 92 from Matt, the boy who had 7, I was I literally felt sick. I felt like I was gonna puke. No word of a lie. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I just spent this money on a book. But
I think the most I've spent on a book was $225.
$245.
$225.
Oh my God.
I think that's the most on one
I've done
book.
that. I've done that too many times than I can count, and I'm not proud of it.
I think I would have spent more than that if I didn't have a child and all that. I think obviously you save a lot more money not having a kid, so you can do all sorts of more fun stuff than me. But yeah, like I said, like Magic Lasso says, Giant Size X-Men's the first one that comes to mind. Brave and the Blue 28 is another one that comes to mind. That's the first Justice League.
You're getting a lot of bang for your buck on Giant Size X-Men because you're getting a lot of first appearances, and not only that, when people think of X-Men, that's the team that you think of. You know what I mean? That's the more modernized X-Men team. So I don't know.
Yep. Someone says LOL. Okay, I'm gonna do my next one since my list is a little bit longer than yours.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we already talked about pressing.
Actually, could I add on to yours about selling off the collection? Because
sell some 300s.
So
Secret Wars 8s.
When it comes to the collection, and yeah, I totally agree with this tip, and I should go by this tip a little bit more, or this advice. But yeah, I do this sometimes, but I try my hardest not to touch my books. Okay, so again, I'm very strict with space. If there's a book that I bought and I don't like it, yes, I sell it right away and I use it for something else. But for keys or books that I really like, I just can't do it. So I look at other things in my collection to get rid of, like statues, prints or art. Did I say statues? Action figures,
you sold
stuff
off
like
a bunch of statues in the last year or so.
Yeah, and then when I started getting to statues, I actually had a huge action figure collection that I was hoarding, and I noticed that action figures aren't as easy to display as statues, and I don't like to display them as much, so I had them in a bin. And I was like, let's get rid of them. Once I get into the mood of getting rid of stuff, I am a force, man. I'm like a hurricane. Like when I want it gone, I want it gone as soon as possible. So
you can use that money on something else. Make the hobby fund itself.
And that's what I do. So, but when it comes to books, I definitely have a harder time doing that. Luckily, I mean, I have done it a lot in the past, but I don't do it as often as like I said, with statues, art, and posters, and all the other comic book related memorabilia besides comic books.
There you go. There you go. Okay, let's see here. What was next on my list here?
By the way, if anybody is watching this and if you're liking any of this advice, please click that like button. We'll gladly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to this guy's channel yet, do so. Get this man to 1,000 subscribers, please. So again, if you're enjoying this content, oh, wrong way. If you're enjoying this content, be sure to like this video.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You said earlier about bags, boards, comic boxes, and all that. We also should say that you should rotate your comics that you have, that you display. Now, Kevin, you don't really display your comics anymore, do you? Okay, so there's a lot of UV stuff. That's why I got black curtains now. I really need to rotate all of these. In fact, I'll probably do a video on it where I'll do a June comic book room update. But yeah, you definitely need to be rotating those. Whether it's every couple days or every couple weeks, it just depends. But I definitely suggest rotating your display books probably as much as possible. Let's see here.
So, like, you like to display books, and one thing, because I'm a super anxious person, especially when it comes to my comic books, I try to handle my books to a minimum. I don't like handling my books. I don't want to be handling my books. I mean, unless I'm reading them, obviously, because I do like to read my books. But there was a time where I did have books up to display, and I'm away from work, and I'll come home, and like the bedroom window is wide open. That my wife opened, and there's sun shining on my books, and it's like no. But the only thing I have on display right now is my statues. But do I wish I could have room to display my books? Yeah, I do. But even if I did have an opportunity, I might not do it as often as you would think. But yeah, I don't know. That's something different for me, like displaying books. But there are definitely times, like on a rainy Sunday, I like to go in the back room and just look at my books.
You said that very eloquently. I like it. On a rainy day, look at him. Just look at him. Okay, go ahead and go on with your next one, because I realize a lot of this stuff we've already talked about. So,
let's say let's go with this tip here.
I tell my daughter to stay out of my comic book room.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. When my dogs are back here, I'm like, nope, get out. Like, you get on out of here. I know they won't do anything to them. They won't like even go near them. But we have a puppy, so sometimes like I'm afraid like the puppy's gonna like start gnawing on my boxes.
Right.
Anywho, so my next tip, and this is almost going along with protecting, not really, but it's about organizing. So it's very important to stay organized. I feel like I felt like I've been organized since I got back into this collecting comic books in 2015. So I've been back at it for a little while, and I was pretty hard into it back in the day too. But I feel like this is the hardest I've ever been into comic book collecting. But staying organized is very important. I like to keep my books organized depending on alphabetical order, what the company is on the book, and how much that book is worth. So, I have my Marvel box, that's all alphabetical order. I have a whole box dedicated to my symbiote collection, because if you guys don't know me, I absolutely love anything symbiote related. So I have a whole box dedicated to that. I'm sorry?
Never would have guessed.
Yeah.
In a million years.
I have my DC box, which is practically 95% Batman and 5% Swamp Thing. And then I have my other box with all of my big keys, my raw keys. So, yeah, I think it's very important to stay organized. if you're one of those people who just puts off books once in a while on the side, then it's going to get cluttered. So if you're done reading the book, put the book away. Excuse me, and then put the book in a bag and see, there you go. Exactly what I'm talking about. If you're done reading the book, don't leave the book out raw. Even if it's a new book, take care of the book. You bought it. So,
I'm waiting to send to CGC, but I'm waiting for a couple other books to get here so I can send them all at the same time. But I really should put them in a box.
And when you, like I said, when you're done reading it, put that thing in the sleeve, put a backboard in it, put it away.
I agree. My boxes I got 2 Batman boxes, and I have them in numerical order. Obviously, you're going to have a whole bunch of spin-off Batman. So I have numerical order through Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. And then after that, I have just mini-series, whether it's Dark Knight Returns, Batman the White Knights, the Scott Snyder, Batman Last Night on Earth, all those other ones. And like I might have some Detective Comics in there too.
Yeah.
And I have a box just for Flash. Then I have a box just for Power Rangers. Obviously, I got a lot of Power Rangers. And then I got a box for just a slab. I got a box for my higher priced books. And then I have 2 boxes that are A to Z.
And that's staying organized. Same thing. I know where everything is in my collection. You want to, if I'm looking for a certain book, bam, I know where it is. There was something else I was going to mention too, but I forgot.
The app. I should have started with the app from the beginning because at this point there's too many books. I have like 300 Batman books, and so it just would take forever to get them all on there.
Right. Like when I was saying what I've said, I think I've said many times on the show already, that I'm really strict with space and what takes up space in the collection. If I never sold anything, and if I kept all the books, without selling or getting rid of anything, I would probably have 7, 8 short boxes. But I don't want to have 7 or 8 short boxes. There's no reason for me to have that many books. You know what I mean? Again, it's all different perspective. Huh?
I said, I think I have 7.
Yeah, but it's different. You have the room for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But and then also I feel like I don't like that vast amount of comic books to keep that much too. I don't know. Maybe when I have more space someday, I'll definitely be like, yeah, well, I can totally put an extra short box in here, or I can put 2 short boxes in here. But right now, no.
I really need to get them off the ground, even though they are in a closet. I do need to get them off the ground just in case the house is ever flooded. So that is something I do need to work on. Okay, let's see here. I don't know if we've talked about pressing books yet and slabbing them. So my suggestion would be to only press and clean and slab books that you're going to. There's 2 reasons, in my opinion, that you're going to slab a book. Number 1 is because, 3 reasons. 1, you either want to sell it or make money off of it, or it's a book that you really like or you have an emotional attachment to. So I would suggest, regardless, hey, what's up? We got Unuseful Boxing. We got Silver Age Dave. What's up?
Hey, Silver Age Dave. What's up, man? I haven't seen you in a while.
I would definitely suggest making sure that you're putting money into a book that's actually worth something, not just like a random, I don't know, Flash number 43 from the current run, Not something that's, I definitely suggest slabbing something that is going to be worth something, whether it's a first appearance or there's a signature on it, or it's something in really high grade, because that's another topic entirely about getting a 9.6 or a 9.8, and at least a modern book, because that's anything less than a 9.6, in my opinion, in a modern book is not really worth slabbing, unless you have an emotional attachment to it. That's my opinion. Like we said from the beginning, this is all just advice from us. Take it with a grain of salt.
We all collect differently.
We all collect differently, but I suggest only slabbing things that you feel like would be a 9.6 or a 9.8. Or you're comfortable with just getting a 9.4, or just slab something that you feel like is going to be worth something.
Yeah. So every time I'm a huge firm believer in pressing and cleaning books. Every time I've sent a book out to get pressed and cleaned, I've always gotten a grade bump. There's always been, a huge difference in a book. So like I said, I'm going to be sending out 12 more books to get pressed and cleaned. These are all raw books. They most of them are keys, but there are books that that I just really love and enjoy, and I just want to see the best outcome for my books, to be honest, because when it comes 10 years down the road, if I do plan on having children, it'd be like, hey, this book is in this condition because of
news to me. That was
what?
That you may want to have children. The last I heard, that was not something that you were interested in. So
I'm still kind of not. All I'm gonna say is if it does happen, I'm just gonna say if it does happen, it wasn't because I had a change of heart. But all these books is just because I want to see them in the best condition possible. Like, if I was this morning, this is when I was looking at them to see what books I wanted to send out, and there's books that I rather see get pressed out more than others, and this one would benefit more over that one. So, but yeah,
this is a whole other topic entirely. Canadian Comic Collector says, "Is it worth it to buy your own press?" I said, if you get good at it, yes, and you plan on pressing books for other people to make money, then yes. My only problem that I would have is I'd be too worried about messing someone else's book up.
Yes.
And you're spending a lot of money up front on a machine that you don't know how to use. And so, I don't know. It's up to you to decide if that's something that you want to do or not. If you feel like the books you want to press, then sure.
I've thought about doing it, but I'm just way too much of an anxious person. Like I said, I don't like handling my books, actually. So I just leave it to the professionals. I let the people who have years of experience do it because I know that they're going to take care of my books. But again, and then here's the other factor that I've mentioned a lot in the show is space. Like, I don't know where I'm going to put a press.
Yeah, I would have no space for it in my house.
Yeah. And there's just like such a science to it, and other people have all these methods that it just confuses me on which method is the best, which method is the worst. I don't know, and I don't want to take the time or sacrifice my book knowing what method is right. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I definitely hear you because, yeah, like you said, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Let me see. Let me put my list here.
So the new person I'm using is a friend of mine. We've known each other for maybe over a year, and he just started recently pressing and cleaning books, and he's been doing a really fantastic job. Now, I think the guy that we send to comic book pressing, right? Or comic book
pressing. Yep, Eric.
Yeah, Eric Loretto. I feel like that guy is the best of the best, but I mean, I hate shipping my books across country.
I understand it, and it's, from what I know, you have real OCD problem with checking, tracking, and worrying, and have anxiety about shipping. So I definitely understand why you'd want to do that.
I mean, if there was something on these books that I know this guy couldn't handle, then I would definitely send it to Eric Loretto. But this guy, of what I've seen, of what he's shown me with his work, he should be all right with what I'm giving him. So
there you go. Let's see here. Next thing on my list. Okay, another way to save money, at least in my opinion, is if like you're really into something, whether it's a miniseries or a run of books, and you don't really feel like picking up every single issue every month or twice a month, and you want to save some money, wait for that trade paperback to come out because they always come out with them, whether it's a 1 through 6 miniseries or issues 1 through 7 or 13 through 19, whatever it is. They're always going to have trade paperbacks, and a lot of comic shops, they're going to run sales on those trade paperbacks. So they maybe mark $16 or $17.99, and you might be able to get them for $8 or $4 or whatever it is. So I definitely suggest, if you don't really want like a run of comics but you do want to read something, wait for it to come out in trade paperback and wait for your comic store to run a sale on them so you can pick up a whole bunch. You can just read them. Because I honestly prefer reading comics in a trade paperback form because you can just keep going through them and you know what happened the previous issue versus waiting a month in between issues. It's kind of hard to remember all the time what happens. And also, I always feel like you got to be, like you said, I don't really like touching my comics that much. So I feel like you can be less delicate with a trade paperback because it's not really going to be worth anything. It's just there for you to read.
Right, exactly. And so when I was talking about when I used to be in comic book collecting, like, in my high school years, I didn't really own a lot of physical copies of comic books. I was trade paperbacks all the way back in high school. So that's how I pretty much did it, because that's what saved me money. I mean, I had a part-time job in high school. That was about it. You know what I mean? So that's how I was pretty much getting my reads, was just trade paperbacks. I still do buy them here and there. For instance, if there's a really long run in a comic book series and I don't feel like, again, it's worth taking up the collection of my boxes, I'm just going to buy in trade paperback. For instance, the last trade paperback that I bought, and it's not, I guess it's a trade paperback. It's a hardcover. It's almost like an omnibus. It's the Absolute Edition to the Swamp Thing saga.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, your review on that.
Yeah. So that was my last thing to buy. That's in book form, but yeah, that's perfect for what I need. And sometimes for reading, it does save you money, like you said, and sometimes in other ways it does save space as well. But yeah, you got those trade paperbacks, you got omnibuses,
Nice.
which are too expensive. Actually, they can be very pricey, so be careful with those. I mean, if you can just go with the trade paperback, I would go over that than an omnibus. I don't own a single omnibus.
Jim Mint Collectibles has a ton of.
I know, I know that.
He's buying them all the time, and he reads the whole thing, and then he reviews it as well.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know, like an omnibus is like a whole run of comics versus just like a handful of issues. It's like they can do like the entire New 52 run of whatever character, Aquaman, Batman, Flash, whatever, and a whole omnibus like this big.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty cool if you have a whole bunch of them, but that thing is huge. That thing
they're huge.
And they're like $100 or $80 or whatever it is. So I mean, you're spending a lot of money to read it, but
those things put encyclopedias to shame.
They do. But they look cool, and it is kind of cool to read them all in a row.
Yeah, I mean, again, if I had more space, then I would totally maybe buy more omnibuses. But yeah,
there you go. All right, what else you got?
I think this might be my last one. No, it's not. I do have a couple more. Here's a very important one too. It's very important to know how much a certain book is worth, especially if it's something that you're really looking for. If it's something that you find and you like and you're not sure about it, take a couple of seconds. We all have smartphones. Check out what the worth of it is. You can use eBay for the last sold sales. You can go on gocollect.com. If it's a slab, you can check GPA and stuff and all that good stuff.
Comics Price Guide is another good one too.
What is it?
Comics Price Guide.
There you go. Yeah, Comics Price Guide. Yeah, that's been around for years. So you understand how much a book is worth. Rather because you don't want to pay too much, or maybe you don't know, but you could be getting a really good deal on it too. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That was not on my list. That is a great tip, because I've seen lots of books go for way less than they should, and I've seen a lot of books and I'm like, dude, that's priced too high. I'm like, well, that's what I'm selling for. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not interested at that price.
That's what I call the not for sale price.
Yeah. When a book is like 200% over, basically twice as much over what it should be, definitely agree. But I really like to buy like bigger books if I'm getting like a pretty good deal on it or a sale.
Like an ASM 129, you lucky bastard. Yeah. I shake my fist at you.
This guy?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to charge me $60 plus shipping just to grade this bad boy, because it's in a certain price area. It's $400 to $1,000.
So wait, I'm sorry. CGC is charging you that much to grade it?
Plus shipping. $58 plus shipping just to grade.
So they did that to me with my Batman 251, the 8.0, because of the declared value. They are charging me $50 to slab it, and they're charging me $60 to clean it.
Woo. The good thing is, though, because it's in a higher tier, it'll only take 15 business days after it arrives.
Well, I hope so, man. I already found out today that my submission that I'm getting my books that were in for reholder, to get new holders are already done.
I saw that.
That's crazy.
See you later, Silver Age Dave.
Later.
Take care. Okay, let's see what else I got here. Oh, I have a really good one. Really good. So we were just talking about prices being too high or too low. When you go to a comic book store and they have a wall of comics, every store usually does.
My favorite thing about a comic book store.
Yes. Those prices are not what you should pay unless it's already a really good price. Let's say it's already let's say it's a $50 book and it's marked at $30, $35. Then maybe you should just pay that. But if it's like a really expensive book, never pay what they're asking. Always ask to negotiate. Always. I'm going to give you a story. It's on that book that I traded you, that ASM 361 9.8 signed by Bagley. I remember when I bought that. It was marked at $80. And I'm like, man, could you do anything on this price? You don't have to be disrespectful about it. Just haggle a little bit. And just be like, hey, is there any wiggle room on this book, or what's the best price you could do, or what would it take for me to get this? He's like, I'll take. And I already said I wanted it, but at checkout I asked for the price. I asked for a discount. I should have asked for the discount before I said I was going to buy it. Anyway, so he gave me $5 off. So I got that book for $75. Now I did get it pressed, cleaned, and then signed and graded, but I got a $400 book for $75.
Yeah, that book is sexy, and it's in my collection. It's all mine.
Yes, it is. And it looks great with that gold label. So,
thank you.
All of those, every book on that wall, they are for negotiation. For instance, these two books right here, he had this one priced at $50, and this one priced at $20. I felt comfortable paying $20 for this. I did not feel comfortable paying $50 for this, even though it goes for more than that. I'm like, hey, what's the best price you can do on that? He's like, I'll take $10 off for you. And I said, I'll take it.
Deal.
So just like I said, always try to ask for best price. And if it doesn't fit what you can spend, walk out.
And this kind of goes in hand with the next tip that I have about, you go into that comic book shop and, you got the wall books, and then they have that price and you shouldn't pay for that price that they're asking for. This is why it's important to build a relationship with the comic book shop people, the owners, the workers, or just have that one comic shop, that main hub that you always go to. I know I definitely have one.
Me too.
I have that one shop that I absolutely love. I love the owner. That guy is so awesome, and he's always cutting me deals. You know what I mean? So if there's something I'm looking for, I'll be like, hey, Jeff, if anyone happens to come in, or if you know anybody with this book, let me know. Now, all right, I'll let you know, Kevin. Or if there's something on the wall, I go, hey, Jeff, what's the best you can do on that? Kevin, I'll do that for you. I'm like, wrap it up, Jeff. That's every time we make a deal. I go, wrap it up, Jeff.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have a number for the comic book store that I like to go to just so I can text him about things, or he can text me if he's getting new stuff. So I definitely agree. Having a good, strong relationship and good rapport with a comic book store that you are supporting is great, because he's going to make you deals and you're going to find some great stuff because of it.
Right. And it's not just, and don't use this, my tip for, finding that local comic shop, that main hub, that one place that you go to, not just for the good deals, but to also build relationships, talk with people. What's the buzz going on with these new comic books that are coming out every week, and, what's hot this week, and, stuff like that. So
I definitely agree with all of that. I'm glad that you said that, because that was not on my list, and that is a great great tip. Let's see here. I got a couple other ones that are pretty obvious. Like, always check. When I say always, I mean like every day or every other day or every couple days. Check the Facebook Marketplace. Check eBay. Check any of the other selling apps, whether it's Mercari or what's some of the other ones I have here. Offer Up or Let Go or Craigslist or Instagram. Check daily or every couple days for books that you're interested in. Or
I've been doing a lot less of that.
You're doing a lot less of that. So you said you're going to try to go a month or two without buying comics, right?
I'm already at 1 month. No comic book buying.
You got one for free, so that's good.
Yeah, see, hey, that helped me out so much. You have no clue. That helped me out. I read that book yesterday, and I absolutely loved it and enjoyed the shit out of it. Later, dude.
Yes, you are. Yes, I'm going to try to be done here in the next 10 minutes or so. Okay. So, yeah, where was I? Make sure you're always looking for things because you can find killer deals. And you also want to be the first one to find them before someone else gets all the good stuff. I need to go.
If you don't, no worries, because there's going to be more somewhere else.
It's true. I need to go a month without, but I am weak.
Dude, I'm telling you, okay, Gray Man. Hey, listen, I was doing fine for like the next 3 weeks, but this week I've been shaking, dude. I've been getting the cold sweats. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's been pretty hard. I'm like, I want to buy a book.
Right. I bet so, man. I bet so.
No, I'm doing pretty good. If I can go 2 months, I'll be very proud of myself because that would be the official longest I've ever gone without buying a book.
All right, I got one. I got two more.
All right, shoot.
I don't know how many you got left, but I got two more.
I've been going kind of all over the place, so I think I got one more, and that's it.
Okay, here we go. Hunt for comics in odd places. Your parents got a newspaper. Check that newspaper for sale ads because there's going to be some older people that probably have some comic books that do not do the internet, and they might be having a garage sale, or they're just trying to sell a whole bunch of stuff like collectibles. And I just would say make sure you're checking different places, pawn shop, flea market. I found Flashpoint 1 through 5 at a flea market, which that video I shot back in August. That video recently started going up in views. It's weird. Pawn shop, newspaper, flea market, garage sales. You may find some really cool stuff there. And then the last one is very similar to that. Tell your friends and your family members, if they don't already know, which we're assuming most of them know, you collect comic books. Oh yeah, estate sales. Those are good. You need to stop buying Showcase 4. Tell them that you're into comic books. So if they hear about something comic book related, they will tell you first, or they'll remember to tell you, or they'll give the person your number about it. I've had many people message me or text me or call me about comic books because they know that I'm the comic book guy. And I've gotten some pretty interesting text, phone calls, and sales because of that. So those are my last two things.
Yeah, just to kind of add to those, flea markets are my favorite, actually. I don't feel like I get deals on, well, I do get deals, but sometimes I don't get as good as a deal as you think you would. Sometimes I feel like I would get a better deal at my local comic book store. And the last one, yes, I'm still dying for the day where someone gives me a gift card to a comic shop or something, or an eBay gift card or something. That would be freaking fantastic. But it doesn't get too much better than that. I mean, my wife knows. My wife has gotten me some pretty cool things for gifts, comic book related. But when it comes to mom, mom will just give me a pair of socks. It's got Batman on it.
Oh, that's so cool, mom.
Yeah, right. Or she'll find some kind of thing at a dollar store, I don't know, a cup, for example. Be look what I found for you. I'm like, cool, Mom. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate it, but whatever. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm gonna keep my last one short because my battery's about to die, and I'm sure we're gonna skedaddle soon. So this is a tip that I wrote down, and I have to stay more true to myself, and I've been doing really good of it this year, and that is to stick to your goals in comic book collecting. And I mean like wish list stuff goals, like wish list goals. I've been so much better at it this year than I have been on other years. Like last year was my worst year for comic book buying. And I don't mean by like, not doing it. I mean like by buying too much. So this year I'm really sticking to it. I've been doing so much better at it. And I know this whole pandemic thing has been absolutely awful, and it has been, but I'm kind of using this pandemic as an advantage to stick with this whole wish list goal and not spending much money. So, especially with my comic shops being closed, so I'm not tempted to go out.
I'm trying not to buy so many new comic books because they're not going to be worth much, and I have enough comic books at home that I could read if I wanted to read something. And so I'm really sticking to just the titles that I want to read and waiting for good deals on the books that are on my list. So I definitely agree. What happens if you hit your goal?
Yeah, so I think sometimes a lot for like the past 2 years, I was making my goals too easy, to be honest. And when I would like finish them too early, it's like, okay, what do I do next? And then you're just buying more crap. So
yep, I definitely agree with everything you said. Definitely agree. Well, thank you everyone in the chat for hanging out. Me and Kevin had a lot of fun talking some comic book advice. We're gonna have to figure something else out to do sometime. I need to get on your channel, man. I think I've only been on there just that one time when you did it from your work.
Yeah, so as soon as the studio opens up, I definitely want to have a vast amount of guests coming on. So
there we go. Thank you. Appreciate that, Magic Lasso. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for hanging out. We had a great time. Thank you, Karate Kevin.
You're welcome.
There's a link to his. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in the chat. It's also in the description of the video. Here is link to his channel. He is almost at 1,200 subscribers, or did you finally get it?
I don't know. I haven't checked. So
he's at basically 1,200 subscribers, and then a link to his Instagram as well. Good advice.
Giveaway.
Thank you. Oh, giveaway. There we go. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Cruise and Relics. Okay. All right. Thank you, Kevin, for hanging out. I appreciate everyone in the chat for hanging out. And as always, go Cats, Cowabunga, and it's Morphin time.